And let's get into it. The main fight, which is Khabib and Gaethje. It is the classic grappler versus striker matchup, right? And what I'm really interested in is, as a fighter yourself that usually gravitates towards a striking sort of tendency. When you are matched up in your career, when you've been matched up against, everyone's got tape on everyone, right? Especially if you go to the UFC. When you know that you're fighting an elite, we're talking in Khabib's case, ultra elite grappler, does that play mind games on your striking or your cadence, or like how does that come about as a fighter from a fighter's perspective?
Yeah, so first off, grappling, or more so Khabib style of
Yep.
grappling, which is Dagestani wrestling.
Yep.
I've never been more tired in my training career than MMA, with MMA or just with wrestling practice.
Yep.
Like wrestling is so tiring, dude.
Yep.
Like one of my greatest fears is to not be prepared to fight a guy like Khabib, or to back in the day when I was fighting, I was like, oh man, like I would love to fight everyone, but like a Gray Maynard would be just a tough fight, like someone
Mm.
that would just wrestle you and grind you and get on top of you, and you just can't do much. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's I think that is the most painful way to and Justin Gates talks about it. The reason why he's fell in love with striking and knocking people out is because wrestling someone down and just holding them down and just outworking them with wrestling is just so exhausting.
Yep.
And wrestling can really put you in that place where it's you could take guys to a whole. That's why I think wrestlers are probably one of the best, or why a lot of champions in MMA come from wrestling backgrounds, because of that mental toughness and that mental tenacity that they can implement and push onto their opponents.
Yep.
Uh, See there, I totally forgot where we were going, but with this breakdown, I I think Khabib's style is for me personally, it will mentally mess you up, because at the end of the day, you know what he's gonna do.
Yep.
So mentally, I might when I go into the fight, it's like, okay, do I just give up I mean, not really give up the takedown, but he's gonna take me down,
Yep.
for sure. Do I just hold on to him and just lose the round, and then so I don't get mauled, and like and be on the other end of that beatdown, and
Yep.
then come out into the second round and try to like let my hands fly and level change? Do I shoot? Do I
Yep.
try to like so like it's all these different things that could definitely take you out of your game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for Khabib, it all starts with that single or that double leg takedown, right? Like as you said, you know what he wants to do, but often at times you're kind of helpless to kind of stop it. How would you rate Khabib's sort of striking game? Because again, all fights will start at the center of the octagon, and obviously we know that, like, if it's a striking match, it's no contest. Justin will
Yeah.
pick Khabib
I
apart, but
think fun. I think fundamentally, if Khabib was to go into a boxing match against just a boxing match with Justin Gaethje, I have Justin Gaethje winning 10 out of 10 times.
of course,
Kickboxing match, 11 out of 10 times.
yep,
Because
yep,
Justin Gaethje's leg kicks. But man, at the end of the day, it's MMA, and because of how elite and how much of a skill set discrepancy Khabib has with his grappling and his takedowns and his wrestling, it really makes his striking flourish.
yep,
And he dropped Conor McGregor, the guy that has mauled everyone on his feet with his left hand,
yep, yep,
left hand right hook.
yep,
Mauled him, just fake takedown, boom, came
yep.
home right on top. And that's the game of MMA, is how do you blend these certain skill sets within each other to create your own.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. How do you see, because Khabib's takedowns usually are the most effective when he traps you in the cage, right? So Justin,
Yeah.
watching a lot of tape and kind of knowing this, and again, everything starts at the center of the octagon. How does he prevent himself from getting cut out by Khabib if he knows that he doesn't necessarily want to be there?
I think feints and angles
Yep.
is gonna be the key to victory with Justin, because if you notice Khabib doesn't just take one shot and then stops, man. He'll take a shot and he'll miss, but then he'll reshoot and then he'll reshoot and he'll reshoot. Is that constant attack of the takedown that
Yep.
I think is going to be key to this. Justin, he needs to crack him. He needs to crack Khabib hard. Let him know that it's there.
Yep.
Feint uppercuts, feints, and a lot of angles. If he's moving left and right, left and right, left and right, then I think what that's going to help Gaethje with is the defense.
Yep.
Because if he just stays still, Khabib's just going to fire on him and push him against the fence. But if he's constantly moving left to the right, then Khabib's going to only have to shoot singles.
Yep.
Single legs, and from the single legs, I'm sure Gaethje. I think Gaethje has that wrestling background to defend single legs and at least have a fighting chance to get a leg out and get back to striking.
Yep.
But he has to move his feet, and against his the Tony Ferguson fight, that is we saw him make adjustments that is title ready.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good that you brought the Tony Ferguson fight. So a lot has been made in the media about Justin's wrestling, and I've no doubt of his, college wrestling credentials. But when you look at least in the UFC sort of fights that he hasn't really fought definitely a wrestler of Khabib's caliber, or a wrestler in Khabib that constantly will go down for the takedown. So I wonder again, like from the perspective of a fighter, he's very comfortable with striking cadence and rhythm, right? And that's why he was able to make those adjustments with Tony, because striking is his realm. He's had those wars with Alvarez and Poirier, and those were back and forth, right? He was in it for both of those fights. It's not like he was
Yeah.
completely outclassed. I just think it really interests me because he hasn't necessarily fought a wrestler that'll constantly go for those takedowns. If that wrestling cadence is something that, like, you'll definitely practice for it, but in an elite level fight will kind of count against him. What do you think about that?
What do you mean wrestling cadence?
So the cadence of the takedown instead of a traditional striking match where you have establishing distance with a jab and like he's seen different versions of that in
Oh,
fighters.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think Justin's gonna do a lot better than people think, because man, he's training with Usman.
it's true.
People are forgetting that.
Yep,
And I mean, he's a bigger guy,
yep,
and he mauls dudes with wrestling at 170 pounds.
yep,
And yeah, although we've never seen Gaethje use his wrestling, like in his fights, I still think, because of the different styles of wrestling, I think Gaethje has a very good defensive game. What I think is going to be what I think is going to really make a big difference. I'm just looking at their photos right now. And the
yep,
thing is who's going to establish the pressure, who's going to be able to move forward, because whoever is on their heels
yep,
is gonna be just defending the whole time. If
yeah, of course.
Khabib is on his heels moving around, Gaethje's gonna be landing that leg kick. He's gonna be landing those big shots.
Yep,
If Khabib is able to have if Gaethje move backwards on his heels, the fence is right there. He's gonna
get that
he's
takedown.
gonna get that takedown. Yeah. So
Yeah,
again, man, classic matchup.
yep.
Striker versus freaking wrestler.
Play the first 30 seconds of this fight out. Do you think, Gaethje comes out crazy, starts trying to attack that kick, or do you think it's a more measured approach by both fighters?
I think it's gonna be very measured. I think we're going 5 rounds this fight.
Yep.
Um, I think, yeah, it's going to be very measured, but when it does get on the feet, it's going to be super, super interesting. And then if it does get on the ground, I think Justin Gaethje is going to initiate really crazy scrambles.
Yep.
But Khabib's going to be able to hold him down.
Yep.
I think I think it's gonna really come down to those scrambles, within those little intricate, very, very important moments of the fight. You know what I mean? But it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a battle of positioning.
Yep.
Who's gonna is Khabib gonna able to get him against the fence and hold him in position and start working the takedowns? You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Gaethje's gonna just try to keep it on the feet with his angles.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. You're going 5 rounds. It makes sense to take a more pragmatic approach, but yeah, I really think it's interesting. Again, that classic matchup makes for a very interesting sort of fight. Gaethje, we know, usually comes with those explosive leg kicks, and if he lands a couple of them early, I see Khabib just out of natural reflex going for the takedown, and I wonder if in that sort of interchange, because I haven't necessarily seen Gaethje throw a knee, if there's like opportunities there, because he can definitely hurt him, right?
I think throwing a knee though is gonna be a bad technique to try to get Khabib down, because it's like a single haymaker and
Correct.
with a really, really bad consequence.
Yeah.
And like, man, I mean, yeah, the highlight knockout reel, like George Masvidal with that knee, is, man, would be so amazing. You know what I mean, for a title.
Yeah. Yeah.
But man, that, or you're gonna be on your back for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and just keep taking a beating. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think I think Gaethje just needs to land that shin across the leg.
Correct. Yeah, that one.
Once he gets two or three in, it's gonna be around. At least get two or three in around. A good one, because that's gonna be a huge, huge, huge advantage for Justin Gaethje. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
fire the leg kick. Khabib's gonna try to catch it. They're gonna catch it. I don't know if Gaethje should be going inside.
Yep.
Left inside leg kick, left inside leg kick. My only issues is Justin Gaethje's defense. He covers up like so.
Yep. So
So
he leaves the takedown vulnerable, right? Like,
very, very vulnerable. I mean, yeah, he has fast hips and he'll sprawl out with his freaking feet all up in the air, but
yeah.
that shot and that second shot, that third shot from Khabib is gonna be yeah, it's gonna be hard to deal with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, watching like a lot of Khabib's fights, I think what really like kind of dawned to me from the McGregor fight was really great. Like I kind of watched that in the last couple of days again, but the Poirier fight, just how quick that explosion is, that double leg, that single leg, it's really quick. Like it feels like he's gotten even faster. I know that they grow up doing that, but like yeah, he doesn't come across as a very explosive guy, but in that movement, he's world class, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, like I was watching the Poirier fight. I don't know why it looks like it's so fast. Is it because I was just thinking? Is it because he stands so tall that the level change is just like whoa,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, you know what I mean? But you know what I think would be like a. I highly doubt it's gonna happen,
Mm.
but I think a really good strategy that I'm curious to see is how would it be if you shot on Khabib? Like, you gotta watch the Khabib Gleison Tibau fight.
Yep.
Man, Gleison was shooting on him and taking him down. I mean, yeah, obviously he got tired and then he was just getting taken down and mauled. But yeah, man, throw a wrench in there. You know what I mean? Like, man, why don't you shoot a double leg and get him on his butt? Then have
Yep.
him start thinking, and then you can start addressing that. I think that would be a really good strategy as well.
Yeah, because the interesting thing is we necessarily haven't seen long periods of time where he's been on his guard, and he definitely plays the top game, right? Like he needs to be on
Yeah.
top. So a lot of his submissions are rear nakeds, cranks. You don't necessarily see anything more than that. It's more about control, position of the
And
submission.
he's
Yeah.
he's a hammer, man. He's a
Yeah.
hammer, and and now I would love to see Khabib as a nail and how he would react.
Absolutely. All right, mate. Give us a prediction. How's it going to be done? Like, what round is it?
Dude, I mean, I said it's gonna be a 5 round war, but I really have Justin Gaethje TKOing him.
Yeah, right. Early on or like mid, like third?
No, maybe like third, yeah, third
Yep.
round,
Yeah. Yeah.
third round. Because I think after that, I think Gaethje would be, yeah, third round.
Yeah. Interesting. So TKO. Frank's official prediction is a TKO on the third round. Yeah,
Yes, he's gonna find a home for that leg kick,
yeah.
and then it's gonna be he's gonna man. But see, here I am looking at freaking Khabib's freaking record, 28 wins, 0-0. What the heck, dude? You don't just get that, you know what I
Nah,
mean?
you don't. You don't. And
You
now,
just
yeah,
yeah, you just man. But Justin Gaethje's 22-2, and he switched up his freaking the way he fights.
yeah.
So I'm with Gaethje, man. The highlight,
Fair
third
enough.
round. He's gonna find that leg kick, and then it's just gonna be all downhill from there.
Cool. I've got Khabib over 5, grinding it out. Pretty. Yeah. I see him really
Such a
testing.
safe answer. Such a safe answer.
You want you? What do you want? The same answer? I'm not gonna go for a
I know.
controversial. That's how I see it. Over 5, but I generally see it just because it's interesting. I've seen a lot of interviews where Gaethje is 100% adamant that he will not get to the ground. So I think that's well, the Usman thing that you brought up is a really good insight because I completely forgot about that. Though we haven't necessarily seen video of them for this particular fight, but I do know that they have trained together. So yeah, look, he definitely has that ability. But like, I just think I was so impressed by that Poirier fight. Actually, to me, it either goes to the extreme where you have Gaethje catching him, or like it's because Poirier is no scrub, man. Like, and he got taken down, but he does not have obviously the wrestling credentials, but he got manhandled. Like it just felt like
Yeah,
such a different level, considering that he's like, up there as well, right?
dude. Yeah, Khabib made Poirier look like what's his name? Who took the fight on last minute notice that one time? New York
Uh,
kid.
yeah, Al La Quinta, but Al did
Yeah,
well. Al did well in that one.
it's so yeah, he did well. I don't know if it was just because Khabib was just kind of going through something mentally or whatever.
Yeah,
It's another interesting thing that you mentioned is that Justin Gaethje is going into this fight mentally thinking that he's not going to get taken down,
yeah,
and I don't know. I don't know if that's a mistake or not because if he does get put on his back, does he feel mentally defeated?
yeah.
Does his game plan like kind of go through on the mental side of things, or it's like, man, it's inevitable. There is a chance that I can get on my back. What do I do from that position?
I agree. That's the thing, and I don't know if it's just verbal posturing for the interviews, which it sounds good,
Yes,
it makes sense, but at the same time, if that's generally his predisposition, yeah, it's a very dangerous game because
it's a very dangerous game.
yeah,
So yeah. Is it a verbal posture or
yeah,
is it like so and kind of it's gonna be and then we're only I mean we're gonna see. We're gonna see his demeanor. We're gonna see his conditioning. Justin Gaethje had all this time to prepare. So
yeah.
we'll see.
Nah, it's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a great fight. I'm excited.